Now, to talk about this election in a bit more depth, I'm joined by Suay Nilhan Acikalin, who's the Associate Professor in International Relations at Haci Bayram Veli University here in Ankara. Now, first of all, this election is all about how to improve transport networks, housing policies, where to build new houses. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be of much interest to the international community, people living outside Türkiye. But why is it important for those people?
Thank you, Andrew. As you said, this is a local election, but it's also take lots of attention from the outside of the Turkey as well. Because first of all, after the presidential system adopted in Turkey, the local governance became much more important after the presidency. And secondly, of course, generally the local election in Turkey considered as a kind of determinant to the next general elections. So in this way, in this local election, most spotlight on the Istanbul and Ankara as a battleground, as you said, and most of the international community focus on who will take the control of the two big cities. And in this respect, it takes more attention day by day, and also it's also important to see that the city branding of the Turkeys of different cities much more visible in the last 10 years for the international community. And I think it's also created a kind of excitement within the international community to see how the local election will going on in Turkey.
I think as well it seems to be that we've seen in recent years, like Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was the mayor of Istanbul, and now the CHP supporters talking about their mayors of Istanbul now, and also here in Ankara being potential presidential candidates in the future. So is this the accepted way now in Turkey to reach national prominence, to have a successful political career in Turkey?
Well, there's that kind of belief within the society, because Istanbul is the biggest city of the Turkey in case of not only the population but also its economy and other characteristics. And most of the Turkish people believe that who controls Istanbul is also partially controls the society, and also it will be a different and new figure in the upcoming general election. That is the point why people mostly focusing on Istanbul rather than other cities. But of course, time to time it's changing. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is a unique case in Turkish policy, so it's not the same for every politician, because before the Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Istanbul has many different mayors, but right now any of them embedded in the political life. And I think it shouldn't be considered in this way, but general belief that who controls Istanbul or who runs the Istanbul will be an important political figure in the upcoming years in Turkey.
Now, the campaign as well itself was quite interesting, because there's obviously a lot of talk on local issues like housing policy, like how to improve transport systems, that kind of thing. But often as well, we got to hear about arguments over things like the economy and retirement pensions in Turkey. And these are the things which are not in the control of local mayors, local councils. And we also get the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, we get the leaders of the CHP and other opposition parties traveling around the country making speeches of their own. So how much do you think people are influenced in this election by national policies, or are they just more likely to concentrate on the issues specific to their own towns and cities?
Well, it's not easy to differentiate in this local election, because I think the economic developments, and especially the last year earthquake, is also make a little bit gray zone for the voters as well, because most of the local elections generally it's expected to the voters focus on their city's problems and how the candidates make suggestions regarding the city's own dynamics and the problems. But this time, as you said, that the main political figures are also embedded in the election campaigns. But it's not surprisingly, because also society discussed how the general election that held in the last year affected the local elections and the selection of candidates within some specific cities. I think these kind of the discussions is not unexpected, but it's also when it comes to the local election at the end of the day, when the voters go to the casting, it's important to bring in how the candidates comes up with the solution of their city's problem, not very ideological stance.
Okay, Suay Nilhan Acikalin, thank you very much.